Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm Volt, creator of the webcomic The Alchemist Collective, and today I'm drawing something a little different. I decided that I wanted to paint some merfolk for May, and I think this video might come out a little bit late in the month. I drew about 4 of these little guys, but I think I wanted to do something a little different. And so I designed some cute little monster boys, and I wanted to take it a step further and break out my gouache. These guys I drew digitally first, and then I transferred them over onto my watercolor paper. The first one I decided to paint was the octopus. They're the largest one on the page, so I thought maybe I'd get to really test out my gouache. And, I've had this set for a bit. I got them when I was in Japan from the art store Sekaido. But they've been kind of just sitting around since then, and the most I've done up to this point with them is just to swatch them. But I'm going to be using them for most of these merfolk, and today I'm only doing the octopus. So yeah, that's what's being painted right now, or rather I'm getting ready to paint it. I wanted to show you guys how I set up my palette. Essentially, it's a gray palette, which it's a gray paper palette, which is interestingly enough really good for colors. But for watercolor though, it's kind of hard to see. So I made a little swatch sheet for the octopus, like each merfolk that's on there. I made a little swatch thing for them. And I wanted to go with a giant jellyfish, giant octopus, because they have that really cool, vibrant red, orange, purple shift in their coloring. And I know that octopuses can change colors, but I really like that bright, vibrant orange red that you often see in the really big ones. So that's kind of what I went for. I was gonna do maybe like blue or something, but I have blue planned out for one of the other ones, so I went with this orange and red, and it came out really nice. I really like how it came out. Honestly, I love Holbein paints. I love the brand. I also have their acrylic gouache, which is just like matte acrylic paint. But I find that their colors are very well pigmented and saturated and juicy. So what I like about their gouache in particular is that their color shifting is pretty minimal. So I'm not stuck guessing whether or not a color is going to dry way lighter or way darker than when it was wet and when I initially painted it. And I found this to be the case when I had my Arteza brand gouaches, and those are really cheap paints, and it has a lot of like filler in it for the binding, and it comes out chalky, and so sometimes the colors shift into like a wildly different shade that you weren't expecting. And so that was one of the frustrations with me like painting gouache in the first place, is that I didn't really have any quality gouaches up until Holbein. So it's the brand I've stuck with when it comes to gouache. My watercolors, I have some Holbein, but I also have other brands like Winsor Newton and Daniel Smith, which I love. And I don't mind mixing brands. I'm not like a brand purist or anything, but Holbein is one of my favorites. So I'm getting used to the consistency of gouache too. And at first you'll see me applying it very lightly, like similar to watercolor. And even then I felt like I didn't use my ceramic palette like I normally do here. So I was afraid that I kind of laid on the first layer of this octopus a little too thickly. But it turned out okay in the end. I'm like I said, I'm getting used to the consistency of gouache, and I'm always working out of the tube. So out of the tube is when it's the most vibrant, and I don't keep it in a palette because it tends to chip and crack if you try to keep it like watercolor, because it's a different kind of binder. So gouache builds on itself similar to watercolor, but after a certain point, if you're using regular gouache, artist gouache, it will reactivate if you wet it. And this can be tricky if you're layering in the colors. And watercolor doesn't really do that. So that's why I've seen a lot of other artists lay down the base colors in watercolor and then build up to gouache when they have more solid progress and they feel like they can like really build on that initial like coat of paint, because watercolor won't move at all after you put it down. It's a different kind of binder in the paint and in the pigment. So anyway, Yeah, so I really am happy with the way that the colors turned out. I started out with the gouache and I'm really glad that I'm starting to use it. I think I said in my last video that I'm kind of going back to traditional art. And so I've been filming myself just painting. And it's okay if I mess up on some things or if I hesitate. You see me hesitating sometimes when I go to lay down some paint. And I think that's should be left in as part of the process is me thinking about where I want my colors to go. And I'm treating this as if I were a beginner again, but full disclosure, I'm not totally an absolute beginner in painting. It's just I'm getting back into it. So I still have a lot to relearn and try again. And I also kind of wanted to expand on the paper that I'm using. It's the Arches cold press watercolor paper, the cotton, the green one. And so I only just now bought it recently, and I was saying to some of my friends that I held off on buying this brand because it felt like I couldn't justify buying it because, oh, well, I'm not skilled enough. I'm not ready. This is really expensive paper. I don't want to waste it. All this and that. Like, I was just giving myself excuses not to buy the good quality, expensive paper. But with watercolor and gouache, that is the one thing you don't want to skimp out on is the quality of the paper, because then you're not going to have as hard a time wrestling with the way that the water and the paint behaves. And I feel like I've been wrestling with cheaper paper for a really long time, and a lot of that frustration has bled out into like just not painting anymore. I stopped for a while because I was using paper that wasn't really like doing the thing that I was really wanting it to do. And so when I finally bit the bullet and bought the Arches, I said, you know what, I'm just going to do it, even if it's just a treat to myself. And if I end up, not liking it or even messing up a little bit, that's okay. At least I tried it, because I would look in the art store at these watercolor pads and go, oh man, I would love to paint on this one day. And at the time, I thought I liked the hot press, the smoother kind of watercolor paper that you can just glide on because it was easier to draw on. And I liked drawing in little details when I sketched, and I didn't want to like lose any of that in the bumpy texture of cold press. So I always avoided cold press because I thought I didn't like it, and I thought I didn't really like the texture when I drew. It was just too rough, and so I kept buying hot press, thinking, okay, this is better for me when I draw. But I'm not finishing the piece as a drawing. I'm finishing it as a painting. And so when I went to go buy this recently, I said, okay, well, let me try the cold press one more time. And oh my God, why did I like not give myself this chance this whole time? Anyway, I digress. This is just like me painting for the first time in a long time. I did do some other preliminary paintings just to see how the paper would act, and I just love it. And I don't know if I will go back to buying another brand of paper now that I know the truth. So anyway, for today's topic, I know I said to some people that I wanted to talk about AI generated imagery. I refuse to call it art, and how I'm kind of tired of it. I'm sure a bunch of you are too, but I hesitate on adding yet another video to the pile about AI since I am kind of sick of hearing about it and seeing people fall into the trap of using it and the arguments and people thinking it's okay, especially other artists thinking it's okay. I feel like a lot of the points have been belabored, and I don't know if I've ever had the energy to address it on this channel fully. I just know that I'm against it and it will never be art. But if you're interested in a video like that, I could talk about it more, I guess. I don't have a problem with that, but it's just a topic that I've kind of not really wanted to talk about because it's just been done to death. And so I wanted to talk about something else that kind of gripped me. So today I was actually browsing YouTube, and I found an artist who is starting to make her own art into a full-time business. And so every month she gives updates on goals she set for the month and where she fell short and her online metrics and what she plans to focus on for the following month. And I think documenting your progress on these things is great, especially if it's in video form. So you have like kind of a timeline for where you were at certain years, and you can really like see and your progress and your struggles at the time and how you got through it and everything. Like, I love that kind of stuff, especially when it comes to artists, because it everybody's got a different path, right? So it's really nebulous how we get to where we get to when we want to work full time as artists. And I know for sure that that was one of my goals. That is one of my goals. And I used to be so afraid of admitting that, but now I'm like just saying like I do want to work full time as an artist. And so on this video, I went on to read one of the comments below her video, and it read something like, if I were you, I'd capitalize on your marketing background and add art marketing content, digital products, and consulting to your business strategy instead of taking up a part-time job that'll take up more of your time than they'll pay you for. You could offer fellow artists guidance on YouTube, in your newsletter, in an e-course. And like, y'all, like, this kind of gave me pause. And I don't know the artist in the video very well outside of the videos that she put out or what her ultimate goals are. Aside from wanting to be a full-time artist, she only has a few videos out right now. It seems like she's more interested in actually drawing for her business than going down the e-course / consulting pipeline, which I see so many other people, not just artists, but people do, especially on YouTube. Like, they're making a marketing funnel strategy, especially when it comes to like advice gurus on YouTube. It's like, well, I have the secret, I have the answer to your problem for YouTube, and all you got to do is sign up to my newsletter and then pay for my course that I made in a month for it was $1,000, but for you, it's a steal and all this. And, you know, like, a lot of that kind of thing gives me pause. And if this artist has a background in marketing, I'm sure she's applying all the skills from her prior work history into her art business to boost those artistic projects. But why does it have to lead to making a course? Why does it have to lead to some kind of online consulting or e-product that is like a lead magnet or a sales funnel? Like, isn't the entire reason you would leave your prior non-art job to work full-time as an artist not doing that thing that you were doing that was making you miserable because you wanted to get back into art? Like, I don't know. She starts starting out, and people are already telling her to make courses about how to start a full-time art business for other artists. And that just doesn't make any sense to me for a couple of reasons. Like, for number one, again, she's just starting out. She isn't working full-time as an artist yet. So why would she immediately open up consulting for that when she hasn't reached it herself? And this is the issue I have with so much e-course material on the internet. People have skills, and it's good to share those skills. But if I told you that I'm offering a course in gouache painting when I only just started painting again, wouldn't that make you stop and wonder, why are they offering a course on something that they haven't grasped fully yet? And sure, having more knowledge than the next guy is better than having no knowledge and speaking like you're an authority on that thing. But there's something a little disingenuous about offering something for money when you only just started out doing the skill yourself. If a client came to me or a customer came to me and asked a question about gouache, and I have no experience with that specific question and I couldn't answer it with any confidence, I wouldn't be acting in good faith on their investment in me or in themselves at the end of the day. The second thing is time. It's the ultimate commodity that I think a lot of people are trying to take away from people. Like, there's this whole attention economy thing going around, and everybody wants every second of your eyeballs on them, which, by the way, you've been watching about or listening to about 12 to 14 minutes of this video, and I really appreciate that. And if you like what I do and talk about and make so far, I really would appreciate it if you commented or even subscribe to my channel for more topics like this. It will help the channel out so much, and I'm looking forward to making more videos like this. So on that note, it's the time factor. So When you're taking time out of your schedule to set up things like an e-course, probably with several pieces of material and modules and moving parts, or consulting or mentorships, at that point you're not really building an art business, but you are making an art business consulting service or mentorship. It is art adjacent, it is art specific, but it is not you specifically making the art. And even if you did one or two of those things on the side, like part-time, that's essentially a third job that you're working if you want to make your own stuff also. It would seriously cut into your time and energy to make and market the art you're trying to put into the world. And that's why I believe this kind of thing really isn't for everybody. It's not really sustainable for everybody. And so there was this video floating around quite some time ago from another artist, and it was a big discussion in the community, and it gained a lot of traction, this video, whereby they discussed the integrity and efficacy of such as and similar business models based on a particular artist's business strategy. Now, I'm not going to sit here and armchair moralities on whether or not you're selling PDFs of art business strategies and tips. That means you're a grifter or a scammer, because that's not the topic of this video. And I don't think everyone who offers these services are automatically those things. And I don't believe, moreover, that people who offer these services are suddenly not full-time artists, because that's not even remotely true for some people. However, what I will say is that it's a heavily saturated kind of market that I would call very distracting. Not just distracting for the artists making them that might want to also just make their own thing, but also for others who may be in this cycle of learning and thinking that they need some kind of material or guidance outside of themselves. So they're in this loop of buying courses and looking for solutions or looking for mentorships on how to improve and reach their own personal goals. So the third thing is distraction. It's a really big distraction, and it's a whole other job, essentially. And I don't think that it's very intuitive to be like, well, I'm an artist and I have this experience, let me automatically make a course, when really that's not actually what you want to do. Over the course of my life as an artist, I've had a lot of things suggested to me. Everybody's got an opinion, right? One of the more common suggestions is, why not teach art? Why not become an art teacher? And I can see why a lot of artists would eventually come to this conclusion. And a lot of people who see artists and talk to them come to this conclusion. It seems like you're just making things for the hell of it because you like it and you like making art, and so you enjoy it. So why not teach it? You get to help other artists and you get to coach them through different aspects of their art to help them improve. And so many artists I've met are just straight up just such giving people. They give all of their knowledge away for free, and they share often. And that's so great about the community. Like, a lot of us are not gatekeepers. A lot of us like to give knowledge and their experiences and what they share. So I'm not saying that people shouldn't teach art or offer mentorships or consulting for art marketing. Those things have their place, but not every artist is interested in making those kinds of things. I know, because I am one of them. Now, currently, I'm working on material that might be helpful for people making comics who struggle with the thumbnailing stage specifically. I'm making it because it is my favorite part of the process, and it's something I think is very important and integral to the process of comic making when it comes to long-form comics especially. So it builds cohesion between pages and helps you to iron out the flow of your process and your story. But that doesn't mean I suddenly want to teach thumbnailing or storyboarding or open up an e-course on Skillshare to teach you my secrets and what other artists aren't talking about and what they'll never tell you in art school. Like, I only want to share my process because I think it's a solid process and that it could possibly help someone. And that's how I would contribute. If you're weighing your options for becoming a full-time artist, I think making supplemental material can be a useful and even helpful thing. Occasionally, I put up digital sketchbooks, and I'm wanting to make more digital zines and other little goodies like that, like emotes and stuff like that for Twitch. I don't know. I'm still brainstorming those. But I just don't think anyone should feel obligated to make full e-courses and open up consulting just because it seems like the money is there and they might happen to have a background in marketing And if you don't like those things, or if it was a prior job that you're trying to get away from, they don't have to be a part of your actual art business plan. If you're starting an art business, you're already going to be doing a lot of administrative work that is not art. They're not a part of mine. My day job skill is in inventory management, and sure, I have knowledge and specialization in those skills. I may even use those skills in my art business, but I'm not going to make a course on it, and that's not what I come to my art to do. So I have a lot of stories I want to tell through my art, and that may sound selfish to some people, but I disagree. Sharing stories is one of those more generous things that you could do, I think. When people like social media gurus give you strategies, and I went down this rabbit hole, right? What are some social media strategies you could use? What are some YouTube tips that could get you more views? I was in that loop, and I had to get out of it because it's really repetitive and it doesn't really help, right? It just wastes your time. It's the attention economy, right? So when they give you strategies, often what you'll hear is they tell you to quote unquote add value, which is such a broad, vague term. And when they try to describe it, they often give examples of ebooks, courses, newsletters, and other digital products and services. So as an artist trying to do your own thing, and at least for me, I asked myself at first, well, what can I offer? If I'm not posting guides or courses, then it's not as valuable. But that's categorically untrue. When people read my comic and tell me they enjoy it, I have quote unquote added value to their life in some small way. When someone tells me they like any of my art in general, it's because they saw it. And you know what? It's because I shared it. I don't know. These are just some thoughts I had. It seems like people are echoing the suggestions that are capitalistic mantras like add value, make an ebook, start a course. I don't mind sharing my process. That's part of what I want to do, but that's not an aspect of my presence that I think I want to monetize. Not every artist needs to be a teacher. Let me know what you think in the comments below, but I really hope that this person that I was watching earlier, I hope that she really follows her North Star, because it really seems like she wants to make an art for a living. And behind the scenes, she's already doing a lot of things outside of that are not art. And when it comes to marketing, that's a whole other specific set of skills. And if I were her, I'd just try to make the art that she enjoys making, and then use those strategies that she already had from marketing and not make a course on it, but just use those skills that she already has to kind of just make the art itself. So in closing, I made this octopus and I hope you guys enjoy it. This is my first little guy, and I'm really happy with the way that it came out, because I'm really liking the vibrancy of the gouache and the way that the colors blended. And I really like I think my favorite part is the tentacles more in the back that give that more purple muted tone. And then the front is more vibrant red and more saturated. So I really like how I did this piece all together. I'm really proud of it. Let me know what you guys think of the art or the topic for this video. And if you liked it, feel free to like and comment. It really will help out the channel. And I appreciate you guys coming by. Take care. Bye-bye.